All right, we are going to hike Ashland Lakes Trail. I showed you the potholes in the road on the way to Heather Lake, and these are actually worse. So I'm not going to film the whole thing, but I just wanted to show you how bad it is. Check this out. I don't know if you can even see the depth of these, but they're really freaking deep. There's a pit full of water in the middle of the road. All right, just under 5 miles on the dirt roads up here, and I have been coming up here since around 2010. The road has never been improved or maintained in any way since then, at least. So it's just progressively gotten worse. This is the first time I've actually had to put my vehicle in 4-wheel drive. When I first started hiking, I could make it up here in a sedan. The bathroom at the trailhead is closed, and I'm pretty sure it's because they can't get up here to maintain it. The brush isn't cut. There's trees about to fall on the road. It's really not a good situation. This trail starts out on an old logging road, and it goes through a lot of peat bog areas, so it can be pretty buggy. I'm hoping for the best today. There's a little bit of a breeze, and it's not super warm. Nice cloud cover. I'm also hoping for no rain, because actually, even though I live in the Northwest, I came unprepared for rain today. I do have an emergency poncho. It's a little drier today than normal, but this is one of those boggy areas. You can see normally it's kind of muddy, and then it's full of skunk cabbage. Just under a half mile into this hike, and there is a really neat huge log that has been made into a bench. And we're about to cross this bridge. It's a very quiet little creek here. In fact, it's quiet out here in general. There's some neat slime mold. While the road isn't being maintained, the trail definitely is, and it looks like fairly recently. I've seen a lot of signs of improvements, fixing the bank, cutting trees out of the way, putting in rock work over some muddy stretches. I'm guessing it's probably the Washington Trails Association. Well, we just passed the people who had the only other car in the parking lot. So now I know that all 3 lakes are completely ours alone. Just me and the pups. All right, we are at the first fork in the trail, and I'm going to take the left and go about 1/10 of a mile to Beaver Plant Lake. There's some coral root. I believe this is coral root. It does not use chlorophyll. It's a plant that doesn't use chlorophyll. Beaver Plant Lake, there's a lot of social trails between all of the different campsites, and it's really easy to get kind of turned around once you're in there and find yourself wandering through the campsites. But it's not too hard to find your way back. There's actually a little, the most visible thing. It's a kiosk that says Morningstar Natural Resources Conservation Area. Here's a great map of where we're hiking. We parked, where did we park? We parked back here at the parking. So we walked the majority of the trail, switchbacks and up a hill, and then we did this little jiggity jog here to Beaver Plant Lake. We're gonna get back on the trail and we're gonna go to Upper Ashland and around one of the sides, and then to Lower Ashland. Then we'll cut our way back and maybe do the other side of Upper Ashland and just go back on up to the parking lot. There's some really big gnarly trees along this trail. When you get to this milepost here that shows it's 2/10 of a mile to Upper Ashland and 2/10 of a mile back the way we came to Beaver Lake, there's also a left here, but don't take that. I don't believe it's maintained, and I think it goes to Bulb Mountain. I don't think that that's a safe trail at this point. I think they recommend you don't hike it. I'll check and get some more information on that, put in the description. I don't think you can tell how big that tree is through the woods there. I think it's a hemlock, but it's huge and it has these great twisty branches sticking out. And here's a really, really, really big cedar. It looks like an ent. It's kind of broken at the top and it has some big arms. Good for carrying hobbits. About 3/10 of a mile after leaving Beaver Plant Lake, and we're coming up on Upper Ashland. You can see it through the trees, and we'll get some good views through here pretty soon. Upper Ashland Lake. So calm and beautiful. There's a very narrow bridge over a brackish looking channel. It's not brackish, it's full of tannins. It's very red. Okay, go across. You can do it. Go on. Frodo too. Good boy. Ooh, did a jump at the end. So this is Upper Ashland Lake Campground, and this is an interesting campground because what they've done is made a tent pad out of wood right by the lake, which could be really buggy, but also how beautiful is that? And then across the trail you have a bathroom. Very handy. Look at the mist rising up out of the trees. When you get to the end of Upper Ashland Lake, you're going to see this directional sign, and it actually isn't marked for Lower Ashland Lake. It's only showing Beaver Plant, and this trail to the right leads to the campground. So you're going to want to continue on the dirt path ahead of you to get to the junction that goes to Lower Ashland. So once you get to the end of Upper Ashland and you find the trail that leads away from that lake, you're heading toward Lower Ashland Lake, but this trail is still not marked at this point. The trail between Lower Ashland Lake and Upper Ashland Lake has always had a bit of a vibe. I don't know, just quieter. I think less people use this part of the trail, and I don't know, I like it. The other thing I like is ripe huckleberries. I've always called this tree the trip you tree. Doesn't it look like it's sticking its foot out towards the trail to trip you? All right, about almost half mile since leaving the Upper Ashland Lake. I'm now at the shores of Lower Ashland Lake, which definitely has more of a mountain feel. I see a slope of boulders across the way. There's a lot of lily pads here. I'm gonna walk around and find a good place for lunch and a better view. I was gonna go across this bridge, but Frodo vetoed the bridge. He said, absolutely not. The water is pretty dark here. It's got a lot of tannins in it. You can see another tent platform on the other side there. Right there. The dogs are pulling me. Came through all this brushy, muddy part and then across that log and this board and the ends of these logs. Luna, lead the way. And then we're gonna go across the rest of this log and then I can see the trail pick up again. But I would say, so we're at this far end of Upper Ashland Lake. It is definitely not kept up on the end here. So this side is definitely not as maintained. It's very rooty and overgrown, brushy. All right, so I didn't come very far, maybe a 1/10 of a mile at most, but it's just gonna be a fight. It looks like it gets a lot more brushy, a lot more wet. There's big old bog holes. So I think we're gonna go back across the end of the lake and up the other side again, same side we came on. All right, made it back to the car. I did about 6 miles round trip and I'd done a little bit of extra. So if you just stick with the main trail and don't try to boonie out through the woods on the unmaintained part, it's going to be under 6 miles round trip for you and a little over 700 feet of elevation gain total for the hike. It was beautiful. The rain never really did show up. The mist quit and it was such a peaceful hike. I had it almost all to myself until the way back. I just ran into one couple and then a big family and that was it. It was so quiet, really, really nice.